Hello everyone, welcome back to the class. We're going to create a face replacement in the After Effects, so let us get started. First thing first, we have to import our footage here. This footage is 12160 by 4096. We're going to click and drag, bring this one in into the create new composition. This will create exactly the same width and height along with 35 frames per second of it. This we're going to resize it, reframe it later on, but first we need to double click on the layer. We should be inside the layer panel. Let's go to the window. Make sure the tracker is turned on. It should be on the right hand side most of the time. And I'll make sure here, I'll bring the time indicator all the way in the beginning. We're going to track this motion all the way to roughly about 9 seconds. So what we're gonna do, let's go to the track motion. Let's zoom in. So there's going to be two squares that we can actually move it. The outer square refers to the general area. Second square that's inside refers to the focal points. What we're gonna do is just click inside or in between those two squares. We're going to click and drag it so that we're going to put it on top of the nose, and we'll just make it roughly about this size. So if the focal point is going to be within this area, and this big one is like an entrance. So what we're going to do is we're going to track how the face moves. So we're going to track the point on the nose. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but we'll try our best to make it look perfect as much as possible. So when you come down to the tracker, there's going to be underneath the analyze, there's going to be 4 different buttons: frame backward and backward, play, and frame forward. We have to constantly go back and forth and then using the play. So I'm going to hit play, and there's definitely going to be a time where this just pops out to the different location, and that's when you're going to stop. So let's go ahead and click onto the analyze forward, and sometimes you just want to stop it once in a while. You just saw this just popped and move it right there. So what I need to do is I need to go back frames where this was happening. Alright, and then notice how that just moved it. So what I'm gonna do is just click and drag, put it over there, and frame forward. That will fix it. Alright, so now we can go back and click onto the analyze forward button, and I'll pause it there so I can move up while using the space bar, and then I'll play it again. Once in a while I'll just click and pause it for roughly about every 15 frames, making sure it will stay within the relatively the similar area. I know starting from here she's going to turn her face, so I'll be more careful, making sure nothing pops out from the original space too much. Alright, I think that's so far so good. And starting from here, there isn't much of the movement, so they should keep it relatively safe till 9 seconds. And we'll see. Alright, just to make sure, I'm going to stop at the 10-second mark so I can use everything and cut it at the 9-second. Alright, so this is good. So let's go to the layer, new, solid. We're going to use that as for the plate. And let's go to layer, new, null object. We want to rename the null object as a controller. And let's go to the still we should be inside the layer panel. Let's go to the edit target. We want to add it to the controller. Click OK and click on apply. Make sure you choose X and Y and let's press OK. So now we're back into the competition window. Here, let's go and let's see. And where'd this go? Let's see what happened. So the plate is sitting on top, so we just need to, we'll just turn it off for now. And the controller, if you hit U on your keyboard, that's going to bring out all the keyframes. So this actually is going to follow through where the nose is going. Alright, so the plate here, we'll turn it on, put it at the top. And this will click and drag. You don't have to use the S for the scale, because we want to position it so that it could just cover up the face just like that. Then what we're going to do is right click on the plate layer, pre-compose. There's two options. Either way, it's not going to make too much of a difference, but we're going to say leave all attributes and click OK. And once we double click it, now we're inside this plate, and then we can see how everything's going to interact with it. Alright, now from here we have to import the images. So let's go ahead and import all the images. And the image that we have imported here, we'll just click and drag, put it inside the layer. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to hide everything except the top one. Size doesn't necessarily matter because we can rescale it, but whatever that comes in the front, it does matter, because we're going to use that so that we want to keep all the individual layers to have a very similar scaling. So I'm just going to keep this one as a standard face. So we're just going to make sure click onto the layer using the pen tool, and we want to mask it away. And we'll basically mask around however we want it. I'm going to only mask around the left hand side. Alright, once that's done, I'm going to turn on the second one. Using the selection tool, I'm just going to move it and match it a little bit. Turn off the first one, click on the second layer, and then I'm going to, I'm going to cut away the second pieces. This time I'm going to cut it a bit more interestingly like that. I'm going to repeat this process with the layer 3. And I notice layer 3 is quite big, so I'm going to hit S for the scale. Okay, that got too big. S for the scale. Position it, change it a little bit. And I think that's good. So I can turn off the second one, click on the third layer again. I think it would look cool if I kind of shift around these area like that. So I think the first one, second one, and the third one is going to overlap a little bit of the different area. Again, I'm going to repeat that again with the layer 4. If it starts to slow down a little bit, make sure you change the full to quarter. This will make sure everything is going to be a bit more smooth, and I think that's really good. So click on that layer. I'm going to adjust that a little bit like that. Cool. I think that's okay. Turn on the other one. Hit S for the scale for this one because it's too big. Selection tool to move it around. Get rid of that. And this one, I'm going to start from this one again. Turn that one on. Selection tool to move it. S for the scale. Going to rescale that one. Like that. Right, and then click on that layer. Again, I think I'm going to select like that. Turn on the other layer. Rescale that a little bit. S for the scale. Reposition that one. Turn off the previous one. And then I'll repeat that process. Make sure if you made a mistake, you can always feel free to undo it. If you're using Mac, undo is going to be Command Z. If you're using Windows, like I am, it's going to be Control Z. Alright, now I'm on to the last one. Again. That looks good. And to the last one. And there you go. Make sure you always loop it. Alright, once you're done, I'm going to hit this empty area to deselect everything, and then hit U to collapse everything. And then I'm going to turn everything on. So we have all this face. We're going to make sure this appears a couple frames and move to the next one. So what we're going to do is click the first one, shift click the last one except the plate, and we're going to move 5 frames forward. So let's go here, 5, enter. Now you're at 5 frames. If you're using the Mac, it's going to be Option, right bracket. Right bracket, left bracket is located right next to your keyboard P. If you cannot find the right bracket, what you can do is just move your mouse all the way at the end. Your mouse cursor will change into an arrow that's pointing both way. You can just click and drag, and if you're holding down the shift, you can snap it to where your time indicator is. And that's good. Let's go to the right click on one of the layer. We'll say Keyframe Assistant. Click on Sequence Layers. Click OK. Now we're gonna have a staircase like animation like this. I think that's good. We're going to right click again since we select everything right now, and we're gonna pre-compose, and we'll just click OK. We're going to duplicate it a couple times. Click the first one, click the last one, right click, Keyframe Assistant, Sequence Layer, click OK. Now we're gonna have duplicated a bunch of the stuff that we did. So it will look something like this. Alright, cool. Let's go back to the other one. Actually, we have this one over here. Notice how this scaling is off. So there's 2 ways. We can actually go to the hit for the scale. We can go to the either of that and fix by copying and pasting it. First, let's uncheck. And then I think we're going to copy this number, copy that, paste it to the next one, and click on chain it again. So now the width and height is not going to have any of the issue. Alright, now let's bring our time indicator all the way in the beginning. Using the selection tool, click and drag and locate it to where it should be located. And I think in terms of the scale, we should increase a little bit. Like that. Cool. So in the beginning, make sure your parent and link is turned on. You can turn it on by click on one of those two here if you don't have it. Make sure for the parental link for the plate comp will parent it to the controller. So wherever the controller moves, this moves too. But notice how when she turns the face, it's not really going along with that angle. So what we should do is we're going to click onto the plate comp, put it into 3D layer, hit R for all the rotation. We just need to change the Y. So right when she starts to turn her face, which is roughly about at 3 seconds and 14 frames, we're gonna click onto stopwatch for the right rotation. Once she's done with her rotation here, that's when we're going to click and drag and change the angle like that. Right? Just a simple rotation there. Let's hit spacebar. Awesome. Once we're done, we're going to go to the roughly about 8 or 9 seconds. Hit N. That will end the workspace area. We'll right click. And then we'll say trim comp to work area. So we only have that much of a space. Alright. And if we go to the composition, and let's click on the composition setting, our setting is just way too big. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-comp this to a new one. So let's go to the create new comp. For the width and height, let's put 1080, or you know what, let's go a little bit smaller. Let's go 720 and 1280. We'll keep all those same. For the duration, let's go to the 800 for the 8 seconds. We'll keep everything same, 30 frames quarter and everything. Let's go find this name, production ID, blah blah, that number, which is right there. Let's click and drag into the comp one. Hit S for the scale. We want to put it into the size that we want it. And that's it. Now let's go ahead and render this one. Once you render this one, this will no longer be in 2160p. Instead, this will be in 720p quality. Make sure you do that. If not, your render time is going to be roughly about 4 or 5 times longer than what we're going to about to render. Right? And we can hit spacebar to preview that. Awesome. So if you have up until here, you guys can go ahead and render the file. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach me out. Hope you guys have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next class.